into ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಂತ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಕವರ್ ಆಗಬಾರ್ದು ಸರ್ ವಿಡಿಯೋ ಸರ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಯಿತು ಚಲೋ ಸರ್
So last class we were learning about the reflex actions, isn't it? So what is meant by reflex actions? What is meant by reflex actions?
Sudden action.
So the sudden and unknown actions are called as the reflex actions. The sudden and unknown actions are called as the reflex actions. Can you give some examples for reflex action? Examples for reflex action.
Keeping on.
So keeping the hands on the hot objects. Keeping the hand on the hot object or stepping into the straws or the glass is an example of reflex action. What is reflex art?
The pathway of
The pathway. It is the pathway of the reflex action. The pathway of the reflex action is called as reflex action. It is called reflex art. Okay. And which is the center of reflex action? Center of reflex action.
Spinal cord.
Spinal cord is the center of reflex action. And you come to know about the different neuron and their functions of spinal cord. Yesterday, isn't it?
Yes.
So what is the function of sensory neuron?
it passes this message from the body part sensory organs to brain.
So it receives the messages from the sensory organs and it transmits to the relay neuron, not to the brain. So from the relay neuron, it gets transmitted to the motor neuron. So motor neuron, from the motor neuron, it is passed to the effector. What is the effector? Effectors are the muscle cells. So that shows the movement. So this is about the spinal cord, what we learned yesterday class. So today, let us learn about human brain. So tell me now, what do you know about human brain? What do you know about human brain?
Think tank. It is a think tank.
3 layers, sir. No. It is
Think tank.
divided into 3 parts. So which are the 3 parts? Can you answer me?
Forebrain,
Midbrain,
Forebrain, midbrain, and hindbrain. Don't tell it, hindbrain. Forebrain. So human brain can be divided into 3 parts. So one is forebrain, midbrain, and yes. So 3 different parts. Okay. And then what do you know more about brain? Tell me. ಏನು ನಮ್ಮ ಬ್ರೈನ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಇನ್ನೇನು ಗೊತ್ತು?
Cerebrum is the part.
Cerebrum is the largest part of the brain. So he was telling the brain is divided into right
and hemisphere.
and left cerebral hemisphere. The brain is divided by the middle groove. It is divided by the middle groove. Okay, has right and left cerebral hemisphere. Yes, that is also right. And what more you know about brain? Brain ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಇನ್ನೇನು ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ? Yes. Only about the weight of the brain.
Sir, male 1500. 352.
So 1400 grams. Okay, it's the average weight 1052, 1400 grams. Where it is located?
The head.
So it is located in the head. So that is in the skull. It is well protected by the skull. Well protected by the skull. As it is a very delicate organ. See, spinal cord, we learned that it is the center of all reflex action. Not only the center for all reflex action. That is not only the function of spinal cord. That is not only the function of spinal cord. Okay. Spinal cord is also the coordinating center of the whole body. It also the coordinating center. Whatever the work is done with the help of spinal cord, it coordinates the overall functions of our body. So, brain and spinal cord together constitutes the central nervous system. Brain and spinal cord. Brain and spinal cord together constitutes central nervous system, CNS. CNS means
Central nervous system.
Now, let us generally think. What are the things, or what are the different types of movement that takes place in our body? So, one is with our knowledge, with our actual thought. So, that is, we call it as voluntary actions. We call it as voluntary actions. All the voluntary actions is carried by our knowledge. It takes place with our knowledge. And other actions, it takes place without our knowledge. So these two actions has to undergone by the support of the brain and the spinal cord. So now you will be learning, so in this topic, so which are the different parts of the brain, so that helps to control the voluntary actions, that controls the involuntary actions, or that supports the involuntary actions. So involuntary actions cannot be controlled. Okay. So now let us understand. See, voluntary actions. So voluntary action means I am writing on the board. It is an voluntary action. You people take notes. That is also an voluntary action. So the boy is lifting the chair is a voluntary action. You are walking.
It's a voluntary.
So it is a voluntary action. Sitting, sleeping. So these are all voluntary actions. So these actions, performing these actions is by the movement of our muscles. These actions are performed by the movement of our muscles. Okay. See, if muscles has to move, then communication must come from the brain. Communication has to come from the brain. So that is the second part. First part is what? First part is what? Thinking. See, all the voluntary actions are carried with our knowledge. We think and then act. ನಾವು ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಆಮೇಲೆ ನಾವು we think and act. So that is the first part is that we receive the information. We receive the information by the sense organs, and all these informations are interpreted in the specific areas of the brain. A decision is made in the brain in different areas. First information is received. First information ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕಂತ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದು ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಿ. So then ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಿದ್ಮೇಲೆ we take decision. We react. So that reaction, that action, what we perform is the second part. So that has to done. Actions are done with the help of the muscles. With the help of muscles. So there must be a communication from the brain to the muscles. So the nerves that communicate the brain from the brain to the muscles. So we call it as peripheral nerves. We call it as peripheral nerves. So yesterday itself peripheral nerves. So all the voluntary actions. So peripheral nerves. So the nerves arises from both the brain as well as spinal cord. The nerves that arises from the brain, we call it as cranial nerves. We call it as cranial nerves. Brain in the nerve bandre adana now cranial nerves. So that reaches the different parts of the body. And spinal cord. If the nerves that reaches from the spinal cord to various parts of the body, so we call it as spinal nerves. Nerves from the spinal cord are called as spinal nerves. Nerves from the brain are called as cranial nerves. Cranial nerves. So these two nerves reach the different parts of the body and they control the different actions. Okay. So now, based on the location, okay. So the brain is divided into three parts. Okay. So if the front part of the brain is called as forebrain. What is forebrain? F-O-R-E. We don't have four brains. Forebrain. Okay, F-O-R-E, forebrain. Fore means front part of the brain. So which is the front part of the brain? Forebrain. Which part is actually there?
Cerebrum.
Cerebrum is at the front part of our brain. And it is the largest part. Okay. Cerebrum has different areas for thinking, for tasting, for hearing, for smell. The cerebrum has different areas for it. So these areas, all these areas, they receive the informations from sense organs. Okay, there are visual areas in the cerebrum, there are hearing areas in the cerebrum, there are smell areas in the cerebrum, so there are taste areas in the cerebrum. So all these areas will first receive the information from the different sense organs, and also they have stored information which you have already received. So already received information and the information that is gained. So both from them. So these information gets interpreted in the brain. Interpreting means, so it begins to think. So many neural connections, so many neural, that is a nerve. So a network of connections will act on it. And finally, a decision is made in the separate areas. A decision is made in the separate areas. So then later through the motor neuron, so it gets transmitted through the motor neuron, so it gets transmitted to the muscles. Okay. So other than hearing, smelling or tasting or seeing, there are other areas too in the cerebrum. So this is not just like seeing, tasting or smelling. So there are some other sensation like our getting hungry. Getting hungry is different from smell or taste. How do we know that we have eaten is enough? So that is the sensation of full, stomach full. How do we get the sensation of hunger, the sensation of thirst? ಬಾಯಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ ಅಂತ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಹೆಂಗ್ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ? So these are all the different sensation. So there are also separate areas in the cerebrum. Okay, so this is not like you are just seeing or tasting. So these are all the different. So for different sensations, so different areas are found in the cerebrum. So it is the largest part of the brain. So all the information will be stored in the cerebrum part of the brain, and it can be used whenever it is required. It can be used whenever it is required. So ನಾನು ಇವತ್ತು ಪಾಠ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು 5 ವರ್ಷ ಆದಮೇಲೆ ನೀವು ಬಂದು ನೆನೆಸ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ, ನೀವು ಬಂದು ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, ಓ ಇವ್ ನಮ್ಮ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ ಬರ್ತಿದೆ, ನಾನು ಹೋಗಿ ಪಾಠ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೆ ಅಂತ ನೆನೆಸ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ, ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಮೆಮೊರಿ. ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಸೊ ದೇರ್ ಆರ್ ಮೆನಿ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೀರಿಯನ್ಸಸ್. So many of our students, we unknowingly we are unable to recognize them. ಅಷ್ಟು ಅಂದರೆ, ಸೊ ಆಸ್ ಇಯರ್ಸ್ ಪಾಸಸ್ ಯು ಪೀಪಲ್ ಗ್ರೋ. ಅದು ಬಾಯ್ಸ್ ಅಂತೂ ಮೀಸೆ ಗಡ್ಡ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬಂದು ದಪ್ಪ ಆಗೋದು, ಉದ್ದ ಆಗೋದು, ಇನ್ನೂ ಕೂಡ ಗ್ರೋತ್ ತುಂಬ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಆಗ ನಾವು ಐಡೆಂಟಿಫೈ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಲ್ವಾ, ಓ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಪಾಠ ಮಾಡಿ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟು, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪಾಠ ಮಾಡಿ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟು, ಇವ್ರು ನಮ್ಮ ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟು, ಅವರು ಸೆಂಟ್ ಜೋಸೆಫ್ ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟು. ವಿ ರೆಕಗ್ನೈಸ್ ಆಲ್ ಆರ್, ಯಾವುದೇ ಸ್ಕೂಲಲ್ಲಿ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಯುವರ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಮೆಮೊರಿ ಪವರ್. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಯು ಲರ್ನ್ ಸಮ್ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ you write the same thing during the test. You recall your memory. So that is called memory power. That is called memory power. Okay. So here you know that human beings are the intelligent on the earth. Human beings, we are all the intelligent animals on the earth. ಬುದ್ಧಿವಂತ ಪ್ರಾಣಿಗಳು ನಾವಲ್ಲ, ಬುದ್ಧಿವಂತ ಪ್ರಾಣಿಗಳು. Do you know the weight of the whale or the elephant? Definitely the weight of the whale brain, the weight of the elephant brain, definitely it is greater than the human brain. But it is not intelligent as human beings. The whale brain is about 7.5 kgs. 7.5 kgs. So we are just 1.5. But even though it is not considered as intelligent. Why? So what decides the intelligent factor in the brain? What decides the intelligent factors in the brain?
Folds of the cerebrum. Folds of the cerebrum.
So that is the force that is present in the cerebrum. we call it as ridges.
Ridges and grooves. Ridges and
Okay, groove. Groove is the one that joins the right cerebral hemisphere and the left cerebral hemisphere. Groove is the one that joins the right and left cerebral hemisphere. Okay, so here the intelligence depends on the ridges and folds that is present in the brain. So human beings, we are the intelligence among the earth. Okay. So now let us come to the midbrain and the hindbrain. Okay. So all the voluntary actions. So all the voluntary actions that has to take place with our knowledge. So everything will be under the control of the forebrain. Under the control of forebrain. There are some involuntary actions which cannot be controlled by our will. Okay, which cannot be controlled our will. So those involuntary actions are especially controlled by the midbrain and the hindbrain. So what are involuntary actions? Examples. Can you give examples? Give me examples for involuntary actions.
breathing.
Breathing. Good. Heartbeat. Digestion. Okay. So, blood circulation. BP. Even vomiting, sneezing, coughing. So these are all involuntary actions. Vomit ಬಂದ್ರೆ control ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. So you
Blinking of
So blinking of eyes. Okay. So all these are all involuntary actions. Okay. So these are involuntary actions particularly. So they are controlled by the midbrain and the
hindbrain.
midbrain and the
Hindbrain.
Okay. So here, what are the different parts? And midbrain, it also controls the reflex actions that is concerned with the head and neck. So you are turning this side, that side. So midbrain also controls the reflex actions of head and, or it is associated with the reflex actions of head and neck. Okay. So that is midbrain. So these actions, other than this involuntary actions, so we do certain actions with our body posture. So that body posture is very much important to walk, to ride a cycle, or to ride a bike, or for driving. So these are all very much associated with our body posture. So otherwise we cannot walk straight. So this involuntary action. This is controlled by the cerebellum. This is controlled by the cerebellum part of the brain. It is present at the hindbrain. Cerebellum, hindbrain. Okay. So midbrain has different regions called hypothalamus, thalamus. So there are different parts in the midbrain. So pons. So these are all okay. There are different parts of the brain. So when I draw, you will come to know the different parts of the brain. See, a drunkard cannot walk straight. So you know how the people walk after drinking. Why they cannot walk? Why they cannot walk? ಯಾಕೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ನಡೆಯೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ? ಕುಡ್ದವ್ರು ಹೆಂಗ್ ನಡೀತಾರೆ ಅಂತ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತು. ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಒಂದು ಸೈಕಲ್ ಕೊಟ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಸಾಕು, ಯಾವ ಚರಂಡಿಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಬಿದ್ದಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ನೋಡಿದಿರಲ್ವಾ? ಯಾಕೆ ಆ ಥರ ನಡೀತಾರೆ? ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? See, so when the person takes alcohol, the cerebellum part gets affected. Cerebellum part will get affected. So the person cannot walk straight. He cannot ride a vehicle. ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಕಾರ್ ಓಡಿಸಿ ಆಕ್ಸಿಡೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ಬೇಕು, ಬೈಕ್ ಓಡಿಸಿ, ಸೈಕಲ್ ಓಡಿಸಿ, ಎಲ್ಲೋ ರಸ್ತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತೀರ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಿದ್ದಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ನಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಾಗ್ತದೆ. ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಆರ್ ದ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಅಂಡರ್ ದ ಕಂಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಆಫ್ cerebellum. So that is the body posture. So we are able to stand straight, we are able to walk in a line. So you might have seen the people walking on the rope.
Yes.
In the circus. Circus ali the people walks on the rope. Aggad ಮೇಲೆ ನಡೀತಾರೆ. So this is all controlled the help of cerebellum. Okay. So these are all body postures. So now after learning about the human brain and the different functions of human brain, do you have any questions? So ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾದರೂ questions ಇದೆಯಾ? So based on human brain. So different parts: cerebrum, cerebellum, pons, okay, hypothalamus, hypothalamus, okay. So then hindbrain,
Pituitary glands.
okay, pituitary gland, pituitary gland, okay. So these are the different parts of the brain. Do you know the brain which is able to do almost all the different activities is a very delicate organ. ನೋಡಿ, ನಾವು ಎಷ್ಟೆಲ್ಲ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, we are able to do different kinds of tasks, but all this task is controlled by the brain, is a very delicate organ. So this delicate organ has to be protected. It has to be protected. So it is well protected inside the bony case. So that is what we call it as the cranium. That is the skull bone. It is protected by the skull bone. So it is very strong. Okay. So you might have seen the skeleton. Skeleton ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ. So there the brain is fitted inside the skull. The gap between the brain and the skull is filled by the fluid that protects us from the injury or the shock. It protects us from the injury or the shock. So that fluid is called as cerebrospinal fluid.
Cerebrospinal fluid.
It is called as CSF. See, ಈಗ ನೀವು ಸ್ಕೆಲಿಟನ್ ನೋಡಿದ್ದೀರ, ಆ ಸ್ಕೆಲಿಟನ್ ತಲೆಗುಂಡೆ ನೋಡಿದಿರಲ್ವಾ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಬ್ರೈನ್ ಸಪರೇಟ್ ಆಗಿ ನೋಡಿದ್ದೀರ. ಆಯ್ತಾ? ತಲೆಗುಂಡೆ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಇರೋ ಬ್ರೈನ್ ನೀವು ನೋಡಿರೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಲೈವ್, ಅದು ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ನೋಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಆಪರೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರು ನೋಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಕಾಲೇಜಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಕೆಲಿಟನ್ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕಾಲೇಜಲ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀರಾ? ಇಲ್ಲ, ಸ್ಕೆಲಿಟಲ್ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಓಕೆ. So the skeletal system, okay, anyhow you might have seen in movies or somewhere. Okay, hey, both of you, don't talk. So and the brain is placed inside the skull. There is a fluid filled in between the brain as well as the skull. So that is called as cerebrospinal fluid. Cerebrospinal fluid, CSF on the grid. So that protects us from the electric shock. So it is a shock absorbent and injury. Okay. Yes. So this is how the brain is protected by the skull. Okay. Now So how does this brain or how does the nervous tissue causes movement? So let us understand how do the nervous tissue cause movement. How do nervous tissue causes students? So if I give communication, see if I ask you to stand up. So you just took up. Okay. How this movement is caused? ಈಗ ನಾನು ನಿಮಗೆ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಕೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದೆ, ನೀವು ಎದ್ದು ನಿಂತ್ಕೊಂಡೆ. ಅದೇ ತರ ಬ್ರೈನ್ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಮಸಲ್ಗೆ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಕೇಟ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಆಯ್ತಾ? ನೀನು ಬರೀ ನೀನು ಸೇರ್ಬೇಕೋ. So like that different actions it communicate. But how do the muscles move? Muscles communicate ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಅದೇ ಮೂವ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಈಗ so you have kept something. If I communicate, so does it able to move? But how do the muscles move? What makes the muscle to move? Just see, it is giving communication ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಒಂದು ತುಂಬಾ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಿ. Communication ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. But how do it is able to move? How do it is able to move? ಈಗ ನಾನು ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಕೇಶನ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ಯಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಇಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀರಾ, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ನೀನು ಆ ಕಡೆ ಸೈಡ್ ಹೋಗಪ್ಪ ಅಂತೀನಿ. ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಕೇಶನ್ ಈಸ್ ಫಾಸ್ಟ್ ಬಟ್ ಮೂವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಅಕ್ಕರ್ಡ್. ಅದೇ ಥರ ಈ ಬ್ರೈನ್ ಈ ಮಸಲ್ಗೆ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಕೇಟ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ಬಟ್ ಮೂವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಹೇಗಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ಹೌ ದ ಮೂವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಟೇಕ್ಸ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್? How do the movement takes place? ಹೇಗಾಗುತ್ತೆ? So when we think about all this, finally, so this is by the chemicals or the chemical reactions that takes place. Chemical reactions
that take.
The chemical reactions when the electrical impulses are transmitted. See, after receiving the information, electrical impulses are transmitted. So these electrical impulses after getting transmitted, so it undergoes some chemical reactions. Okay, so these chemical reactions causes the contraction and relaxation of muscles. So it causes the contraction and relaxation of muscles. So this contraction and relaxation of muscles cause the movement in the muscles. It causes the movement in the muscles. Okay. So finally, all this is because of the chemicals that is present, of the chemical reactions that takes place. Okay. So the movement is caused by the chemical reactions that takes place. And chemical reaction ಆದರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? There will be change or there will be contraction and relaxation of muscles takes place. So that helps in the causing the movement of the body. Okay, so this is how the nervous tissue causes movement. Okay, understood? Yes. But now let us think about the plants. Do the plant have this nervous tissue? Do they have the muscles? No. But how do the plants causes movement? Okay. So plants causes two types of movement. Plants causes two types of movement. Listen carefully. So what happens when you touch the touch me not plant? Touch me not plant andre gottidya?
Yes,
Okay. So touch me not plant, when you touch the leaf droops or the leaf closes. The leaf closes. When you touch with the help of stick or with the help of your hand, the leaf will fold. That is, the leaf of touch me not plant is sensitive to touch. It is called as chui mui plant. Chui mui plant. Okay. CHUI MUI chui mui plant. Okay. Textbooks illa chui mui plant. Okay. So touch me not plant is the common name. Touch me not plant is the common name. Yeah, the scientific name chui mui plant, it belongs to Mimosa family. Okay. Yes. Listen here, don't get disturbed. See, so this is one type of movement. See, all the plants are not sensitive to touch. Is it sensitive to touch? Is all the plants are sensitive to touch? No. Only these plants are sensitive to touch. But there are other types of movement in the plant. That is the germination of the seeds, or the bearing of flowers, or the fruit, or the movement of the stem. Okay, so that is, we can classify the movement of plants as two types. One is related to growth. One movement is related to growth, and the other one is independent of growth. So one is related to growth. Related to growth is germination of seed. Germination of seed or bearing flowers, fruits. So these are all the movements that are related to growth, isn't it? But when you touch the touch me not plant, the leaf folds. Is it related to growth? It is not related to growth. The plant is not growing. Okay. So we can classify the plant movement as one related to growth. The other one is independent of growth. Other one is independent of growth. So first let us learn independent of growth. Okay. So how do this independent of growth takes place in some plants? So touch me not plant, how does it move? How does the plant leaf gets folded when you touch it? ಈಗ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಇನ್ನು ನರ್ವಸ್ ವಿಷಯ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಮಸಲ್ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ರಿಲ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ದೇರ್ ಫೋರ್ ಮಸಲ್ ಆಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಪಾಸಿಬಲ್. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮಸಲ್ಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲ, ನರ್ವ್ಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲ. But how do this movement takes place? Without nerves or without muscles. See, first carefully observe whether the region, whether the area where you touch the touch me not plant and where the plant leaf grows, whether both are appropriate. ನೀವು ಮುಟ್ಟಿದ ಜಾಗ ಮತ್ತೆ ಫೋಲ್ಡ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದ ಜಾಗನ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್, ಒಂದ್ಸಲ ಇನ್ನೊಂದ್ಸಲ ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಸೊ ಯು ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಇಟ್. ಓಕೆ, ಡೂ ಇಟ್ appropriately folds where we touch. ಕರೆಕ್ಟಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಟಚ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಅದು ಫೋಲ್ಡ್ ಆಗುತ್ತಾ? ನೋ, ನಾಟ್ ಎಟ್ ಆಲ್. ಇಟ್ ನೆವರ್ ಫೋಲ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಅಪ್ರಾಪ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಏರಿಯಾಸ್. ಒಟ್ಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಫೋಲ್ಡ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಟಚ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಸೆನ್ಸಿಟಿವ್ ಟು ಟಚ್, ಸೊ ದ ಲೀಫ್ ವಿಲ್ ಗ್ರೋ. ನೀವು ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದು ಲೀಫ್ನ ಟಚ್ ಮಾಡಿ 2-3 ಲೀಫ್ ಫೋಲ್ಡ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. 2-3 ಲೀಫ್ ಫೋಲ್ಡ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ? So how do this movement takes place without the nerves and muscles? So again, how it can be? So this also can be answered by the electrical. See here, the communication takes place. See, if it is sensitive to touch means the communication takes place by the as electrical signals. Here, from one cell to another cell, as electrical signals, the communication gets transported or it gets transmitted. ಒಂದು ಸೆಲ್ ಇಂದ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಸೆಲ್ಗೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಕೇಶನ್ ಗೆಟ್ಸ್ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಮಿಟೆಡ್. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ಇಫ್ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಕೇಶನ್ ಗೆಟ್ಸ್ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಮಿಟೆಡ್, ಹೌ ಡು ಇಟ್ ಮೂವ್? ಈಗ ಬ್ರೈನ್ ಇಂದ ಮಸಲ್ಗೆ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಕೇಶನ್ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಮೂವ್ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ನಮ್ಮ ಮಸಲ್ಸು ಕಾಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ರಿಲ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಆದರೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ಅದು ಮೂವ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ? ನಾವು ಏನೇ ಒಂದು ಆಕ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂದರೆ ಅದು ನಮ್ಮ ಮಸಲ್ ಒಂದು ಕಾಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು, ರಿಲ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ನಮ್ಮ ಕೈ ಫ್ರೀ ಆಗಿಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ರಿಲ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಇಫ್ ಐ ಫೋಲ್ಡ್, ಈಗ ನಾನು ಲಿಫ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂದರೆ, ಸೊ ಸಿ ಸಮ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಬಾಡಿ ವಿಲ್ ಗೆಟ್ ಕಾಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್. ನಮ್ಮ ಬಾಡಿ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ಕಾಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಅದರ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಗೆಟ್ ರಿಲ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್. one part contract ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, the other part will get relaxed. So but this not happens in case of this plant.
Yes, sir.
So here what happens? Communication gets transmitted through the cells as electrical signals. ಅಷ್ಟು ಫಾಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ನೀವು ಮುಟ್ಟಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಅದು ಫೋಲ್ಡ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಬಟ್ ಹೌ ಮೂವ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಪಾಸಿಬಲ್? So that is by the again change in the water level. So the change in the water level, when the communication gets transmitted from one cell to another cell, so there will be change in the amount of water. So the change in the amount of water will be help the plants to fold its leaf. So this is how the plant, that is the leaf of the touch-me-not plant, folds by the change in the amount of water level in the cell. Okay. So change in the water level agbekanದ್ರೆ ಕೂಡ ಏನು? So communication has to get transferred as chemical in the electrical signals ಆಗಿ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆನಾ? So next, this is independent of growth. So now, so this is one of the example, touch me not plant. Touch me not plant. So plant usually not show any movement, ಅಲ್ವಾ? Plant ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು movement ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಯಾವುದೇ ತರ movement ಇರೋದು. But if it is moving means it is related to growth. So that is, it grows taller, it grows wider, ಉದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ ಬೆಳೆಯುತ್ತೆ. ಈಗ ತೆಂಗಿನ ಮರ ಉದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ ಬೆಳೆಯುತ್ತೆ, ಆಲದ ಮರ ಅಗಲಕ್ಕೆ ಬೆಳೆಯುತ್ತೆ. ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಸೊ these are all related to growth. Okay, so related to growth, how the growth and the movement are related here. So what helps here? So let us understand now related to growth. So you might have seen the creepers, for example, pea plant.
Yes, sir.
Pea plant, this cucumber, grapes, okay, even watermelon,
Yes, sir.
this bottle gourd, bitter gourd, all these are all creepers. So these plant, when it comes in contact with any support, it climbs over it. It climbs with the help of the support over it and it grows. Okay. So how does it actually grows on the walls, on the fence, a support ನೋಡ್ಬೋದು ಆ creeper. The grapes how do they grow the grapes? Okay, so they will make the fences. ಈ ತಂತಿಯಿಂದ ಕಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ grapes ಎಲ್ಲ ನೀವು ಪಿಕ್ಚರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿರ್ಬೋದು. Actually if you have not visited the field, you might have seen in so many films and movies. So how the grapes are grown,
Yes, sir.
isn't it? Definitely you know. So here there is a part called as tendrils. There is a part called as tendrils. So with the help of the tendrils, it takes the support of the object and it climbs on the fence and it grows. So actually very important. See, public exam ke sumaru sala kodidare. Listen here. So this is tendrils. Here the tendrils where it comes in contact, or the object that comes in contact, it takes the support. The tendrils take the
Support.
and the object which touches the tip of the tendril, for example, so a stick or a fence, something. So when the tip of the tendril touches the object, what happens? The growth of that tip is reduced. Nodi correct ಆಗಿ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. The tip, when it comes in contact with any object, the tendril growth is reduced. The part of the tendril that is away from it. ನೋಡಿ ಈಗ tendril ಯಾವ ಭಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಟಚ್ ಆಗಿದೆಯೋ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಗ್ರೋತ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. ಆಯ್ತಾ? But the part of the tendril that is away here, ಎಲ್ಲಿ ದೂರ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, there the growth will be increased. There the growth rate will be increasing and it is fast. So what happens? ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸೊ ಇದು ದಾರ ತರ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಏನಾದ್ರು ಒಂದು ದಾರ ತರ ಇದೆಯಾ? ಜಾಯಿನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಾ? ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಸೊ ಈಗ ಟಚ್ ಮಾಡಿದ ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ, ಒಂದು ನಿಮಿಷ, ಟಚ್ ಮಾಡಿದ ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಗ್ರೋತ್ ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ, ರೆಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಟೋಟಲಿ ಇಟ್ ಗೆಟ್ಸ್ ರೆಡ್ಯೂಸ್. ಬಟ್ ದ ಒನ್ ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಅವೇ, the tendril that is away from the touch, there the growth rate will be more. ಆಗೇನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅದು ಉದ್ದ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತದಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ನಿಧಾನಕ್ಕೆ ಹಿಂಗೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಹಿಂಗೆ ಬಂದು ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಹಿಂಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಹಿಂಗೆ ಸುತ್ತೋದು. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತಿದ್ಯಾ? ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಸುತ್ತಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ, ಸುತ್ತ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಂಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ದೇರ್ ದ ರೀಜನ್, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಸೆನ್ಸಿಟಿವ್ ಟು ಟಚ್, ದ ಟೆಂಡ್ರಿಲ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಸೆನ್ಸಿಟಿವ್ ಟು ಟಚ್, ದೇರ್ ದ ರೀಜನ್, ದೇರ್ ದ ಏರಿಯಾ growth will be reduced. But the one that is away, the growth rate will be more. So this is how the tendrils will take the support and it climbs. Because the stem is not stronger. Stem stronger ಆಗಿರೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಹಾಗಾಗಿ with the help of the support, that is tendrils, it climbs. Listen. Now there are not only this. Depending on the environmental changes, there are so many factors that triggers the growth of the plant. So there are environmental triggers for the plant. So those situation makes the plant growth. Okay. So what are those situations? Let us learn one by one. So there are different types of movement that are related to growth. So based on the environmental triggers. Based on the environmental triggers. So one is phototropism. So the other one is geotropism. Geotropism. The other one is chemo. Hydrotropism. So these are all the different environmental triggers that makes the plant to grow. So first let us learn what is phototropism. The meaning of photo, you know. What is the meaning of photo?
So teacher take the photo.
Huh? Photo. Hey. Photosynthesis. Huh? Photo andre yavada meaning?
Right.
Photosynthesis ali photo andre light. Which light? Sunlight. Sunlight. Okay. So here, with the help of sunlight, the movement of plants occurs. So that is called as phototropism. So with the help of the sunlight. So can you give example? So here, in the direction of sunlight, the plant should grow. The plant should, that is stem, grows towards the direction of sunlight. Sunlight ಯಾವ ಕಡೆ ಇರುತ್ತೋ ಆ ಕಡೆನೇ ನಿಮಗೆ plant growth ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Okay. So sunflower turns its face towards the sun. So that is the phototropic movement. See, sunflower ಈಗ ನೋಡಿ ಅಲ್ಲೊಂದು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟರೆ ಏನು sunflower facing towards the sun, whether it is related to growth or not. No, it is not related to growth. Just ತಿರ್ಗಾ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. It is not related to growth. But here the plant stem grows towards the direction of sunlight. Sunlight ಕಡೆಗೆ ಅದು ಬೆಳೆಯುತ್ತದೆ. Sunflower do not grow. Just it turns its face towards the sun. That is not related to growth. Okay. So there sunlight is the factor. The movement, tropism means movement. Tropism ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? Movement. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ? Yes. So that is the shoot grows towards the direction of sunlight, whereas the root grows away from the direction of sunlight. Sunlight ಇರೋ ಕಡೆಗೆ root ಬರದೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. It will be always away from the sunlight. So that is phototropism. What is geo? Geo. Geo meaning ಏನಪ್ಪಾ?
Nature.
ಏನು?
Sir, environment.
Environment geo. Geo ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೇಳು. What do you mean by geo? What is geo? Somebody is saying. Geo ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಕಂಡ್ರಪ್ಪ. Geo, the earth is in geoid shape. Geo means the earth shape. Aisa, earth is not in any regular circular or okay. Okay, it is shape. ಅದು ಜಿಯಾಯ್ಡ್ ಅರ್ತ್ ಶೇಪ್ ನಾವು ಜಿಯಾಯ್ಡ್ ಶೇಪ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. Geo means earth. So here geotrophism means so by the earth has gravity. So because of that gravitational force, the root grows towards the earth. The root grows towards the earth. So that is called that movement of the root. That movement of the root towards earth. It is called as geotrophism, and it is also related to growth. Root ಬೆಳಿಬೇಕಲ್ಲ, so it is growth. Okay, related to growth. So this is the factor is gravity. So these are all environmental triggers that helps in the growth. Okay. Which one? Geo. Because of gravitational force, the root grows towards the earth. The root grows towards the earth. In ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸೈಲೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಮುಂದೆ ಇರೋರು ಆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಆಗಿ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಹಿಂಗಡೆ ಇರೋದು ಡಿಸ್ಟರ್ಬ್. ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಕಾನ್ಸಂಟ್ರೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ನನ್ನ ಜೊತೆನೆ ಮಾತಾಡಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ. ಹಾ, ಸೊ ನೀವು ಆಸ್ಕ್ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್. ಓಕೆ, ಇಲ್ಲ ಇನ್ನೇನಾದ್ರು ಮಾತಾಡೋದ್ರೆ ಮಾತಾಡಿ.
ಸರ್ ಟ್ರೋಫಿಸಮ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ
Tropism means movement. Okay, so here the movement takes place due to the environmental triggers like sunlight, gravity. What is meant by chemo?
Color.
Chromo is color. Chromatography. Chemo is nothing but chemicals. Chemotherapy ಅಂತ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ.
Yes sir. Cancer
ಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. Chemotherapy. ಓಕೆ, ಕೀಮೋ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕೆಮಿಕಲ್ ಇಂದ ಟ್ರೀಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು. ಸೊ ಹಿಯರ್ ದ ಗ್ರೋತ್ ವಿಲ್ ಅಕರ್ಸ್ where the presence of chemicals. So the sodium, potassium, so everything is needed in minute quantities for the plant growth. So where this is available, the plant roots also grows towards the chemicals. Okay, so that is chemotrophism. So movement of the plant towards the chemicals is called as chemotrophism. So hydro. What is hydro? Can you answer me?
sir. Water. Water. Hydro water.
Hydro ಅಂದ್ರೆ water.
Yes sir.
The movement of the roots towards the water. ನೋಡಿ, ಒಂದು ಮರದ ಬೇರೆ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ತನಕ ಹೋಗುತ್ತಂದ್ರೆ ಅದು ನೀರು ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಅವೈಲೇಬಲ್ ಇರುತ್ತೋ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತನಕ ಬೇರೆ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ.
Yes sir.
The root grows. ಆಯ್ತಾ? Okay. Yes. So that is called as hydro. Hydra means water.
Water.
ಹೈಡ್ರಾ, ಅಕ್ವಾ, ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ವಾಟರ್. ನೀವು ಕಂಪನಿಯವರು ಹೆಸರಿಟ್ಟಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಅಕ್ವಾಫೀನಾ. ಅಕ್ವಾ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ವಾಟರ್, ಫೀನಾ ಡ್ರಿಂಕಿಂಗ್, ಫೀನಾ ಅಕ್ವಾಫೀನಾ ವಾಟರ್ ಕುಡಿಯೋದು. ಅಕ್ವಾಫೀನಾ ಅಂತ ಇಟ್ಬಿಟ್ಟ ವಾಟರ್ ಬಾಟಲ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ. ಪೆಪ್ಸಿ ನೋಡಿ, ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ಸೈಂಟಿಫಿಕ್ ಆಗಿ ನೇಮ್ ಮಾಡಿರೋದು. ಗೊತ್ತಾದ್ರೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಹೆಸರು ಕಟ್ಟೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಮಗು ಬಿದಿಗಿದ್ರೆ ಕೆಂಪಯ್ಯ ಕಪ್ಪಯ್ಯ ಅಂತ ಹೆಸರು ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. ತುಂಬಾ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿರೋ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ನನ್ನ ಕಾಲೇಜಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಬಾ ಬ್ರಿಲಿಯಂಟ್ ಹುಡುಗ, ಅವನ ಹೆಸರು ಹುಚ್ಚಪ್ಪ ನಾಯಕ ಅಂತ. ಸಂಬಂಧಕ್ಕೆ ಆ ಥರ ಎಲ್ಲ ಈ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರೀಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ತುಂಬಾ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹೆಸರು ಕಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ನೀವು ರಿಲಯನ್ಸ್ ಹೋಗಿ ಮೀನಿಂಗ್ ರಿಲಯನ್ಸ್ ಮೀನಿಂಗ್ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಯು ವಿಲ್ ಕಮ್ ಟು ನೋ ಹೇಗೆ ಹೆಸರು ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಒಂದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಕಂಪನಿ ದೇ ನೆವರ್ ಗಿವ್ ದ ನೇಮ್ ಇನ್ ಎ ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಮ್ಯಾನರ್. ತುಂಬಾ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಹೆಸರು ಕಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಬುದ್ಧಿವಂತರಿಗೆ ಉತ್ಸವ ನಾಯಕ ಪಾಪ ಅವ್ನ ಹೆಸರು ಕರೆದಾಗ ಎಲ್ಲ ಏನು ಮಾಡೋದು ಅವರು ತಂದೆ ಆಸೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಎಷ್ಟೋ ವರ್ಷಗಳಿಂದ ಮಕ್ಕಳಾದರೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹೆಸರು ಇಟ್ಟಿನಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಆ ಥರ ಕಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ ತಪ್ಪೇ ಹೋಗಾದರೆ ಸಾಕು ಓಕೆ ಎಸ್ ಸೊ ದೀಸ್ ಆರ್ ನೇಮ್ ಆನ್ ದ ಎನ್ವೈರನ್ಮೆಂಟಲ್ okay see all these movements are also controlled right see this growth of plant the growth of plant also controlled it is towards the direction of the environmental triggers and it always in the controlled manner see even in animals the growth is controlled. See, the plant keep growing its leaves throughout its lifetime. ಅದು ಜೀವನ ಪೂರ್ತಿ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ಗೆ ಅಥವಾ ಟ್ರೀಗೆ ಎಲೆಗಳು ಬರ್ತಾನೆ ಇರ್ತವೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ ಸೊ ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿ ಕಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಯಾವ್ಯಾವ ಕಡೆ ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೂ ಅದು ಎಲೆಗಳು ಬರ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ ಕೂದಲು ನೋಡ್ಕೊತವ್ರೆ ಕೂದಲು ಬರ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತನಾ ಓಕೆ ಈ ಕಡೆ ನೋಡಿ see controlled movements in animals ಹೌದು ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಈ ಥರ ಚೇರ್ಸ್ ಹಾಕೊಂಡು ಈ ಕಡೆನೇ ಮುಖ ಮಾಡುವ ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ನಂಗಾದ್ರೂ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸಮಾಧಾನ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಟ್ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ನನ್ನ ಕಡೆ ತಿರ್ಗೋ ಓಕೆನಾ ಸೊ ಈಗ ಸಿ even by birth during the time of the growth also by the birth also the growth takes place in a controlled manner the growth takes place in a controlled manner see we are having the fingers in our hands not on the faces so these are all the controlled growth so these do not grow haphazardly ಅಂದರೆ ಹೆಂಗಂಗ ಬೆಳೆಯೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಬೆರಳುಗಳು ಇಷ್ಟುದ್ದ ಅದ್ಯಾವುದೋ ದೇವ್ರ ಫಿಲಮಲ್ಲಿ ತೋರಿಸ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ ಹಿಂಗಿಟ್ರೆ ಹಿಂಗೆ ಬೆರಳುಗಳು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತನಕ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ ನೋಡಿದ್ರ ಆ ಥರ ದ ಫಿಂಗರ್ಸ್ ಡು ನಾಟ್ ಗ್ರೋ haphazardly or the fingers do not grow on any part of the body so all the areas so here the growth is controlled manner it takes place in a
controlled manner
see during the time of the birth also during the time of the birth also so how it is controlled during the time of birth how it is controlled how it is controlled see everything is because of the hormones that is present in our body here the plants do not have any muscles or nerves but they also have hormones that control the growth okay so why the plant grows even after cutting means so it has meristematic tissue that is called growth tissue even after cutting the plant keeps on growing meristematic tissue kaltidira mainsonalli meristematic tissue meristem andre it is nothing but growth it keeps on growing see here the communication for rapid movements the communication for rapid movements in case of touch not kind ಮುಟ್ಟಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಅದೇನಾಗಬೇಕು ಫೋಲ್ಡ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಓಕೆ ಬಟ್ the for the growth if the movement is related to growth then it is very slow the movement that is related to growth is very slow ನೀರು ಎಲ್ಲಿತ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ತಕ್ಷಣಕ್ಕೆ ರೂಟ್ ಅಷ್ಟು ಬೇಗ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ slowly the root will grow near the or towards the water. So this growth is slow and steadily it takes place. So here the messages will get transferred as electrical signals from one cell to one cell the communication takes place. So what happens when the cell receives the information first? When the cell receives the information first, so ಈಗ ರೂಟ್ಗೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ವಾಟರ್ ಇರೋ ಒಂದು ಸೆನ್ಸೇಷನ್ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ. One of the cell will understand it. So it forms a compound. That compound can be understood or recognized by the other cells, so that it helps the tip part of the roots to grow towards the
water.
So slowly and steadily, ನೋಡಿ ಒಂದು ಸೆಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಒಂದು ಸೆಲ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಿ ಸೊ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಗ್ರೋಸ್ slowly and steadily and finally the growth of the root towards the water takes place. So similarly the growth of the stem. So these are all the slow and steady process. There are different hormones so that controls the plant's growth. If the plant grows taller, if the stem of the plant grows taller, so that is due to the hormone called as auxin. Okay, stem grows or the plant grows taller. So auxins are the hormones, chemical hormones. So that is synthesized in the stem, which help the plant to grow taller. Which help the plant to grow taller. Okay. Auxin, very very important. ನಾಲ್ಕು ಹಾರ್ಮೋನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ. ಒಂದು ಹಾರ್ಮೋನ್ 100% ಪ್ರತಿ ಒಂದು ವರ್ಷಕ್ಕೆ ಬರೋದು ಇದೆ. So the other hormone is gibberellin. So gibberellin helps in growth of stem. Helps in growth of stem. Helps in the growth of the stem. Gibberellin. So whether the stem has to grow wider, so the stem growth. Gibberellin. ಎಲ್ಲ ಬರೀರಿ ಆಯ್ತಾ, ಸ್ಪೆಲ್ಲಿಂಗ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ವಸ್ತು, ವರ್ಡ್ ವಸ್ತು ಆಯ್ತಾ. These are all new things for you. Gibberellin helps in the growth of the stem. Next, so there is a hormone called as cytokinin. So this hormone helps in cell division. It helps in cell division. See, if the plant wants to grow taller, means where the hormone has to be synthesized, it has to be synthesized at the tip of the plant body, so that the tip of the plant body will grow taller. ಈಗ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ ದೊಡ್ಡದಾಗಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ, ಉದ್ದಕ್ಕಾಗಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗಬೇಕು, ಈ ಹಾರ್ಮೋನ್ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟ್ ತುದಿರಿ at the tip ಇದೇನಾಗಬೇಕು, ಸಿಂಥಸೈಸ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು, so that the plant grow taller.
Yes, sir.
So if the stem has to grow, means so here the gibberellin gets synthesized must be in the stem only. Where then, now you answer, where this cell division is much required?
Tips of it. Tips.
Where the cell division for the plant is much required. ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅದು? ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಮಾಡಿ.
Tip growing.
So in the growing regions and fruits, seeds, there much hormone is needed, cytokinin. And there is a hormone that prevents the growth of the plant. ಈಗ ತೆಂಗಿನ ಮರ ಅಷ್ಟು ಉದ್ದ ಬಂದಿದೆ, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು 2 ವರ್ಷ ಕಲ್ತು ನೋಡಿ, so the growth of the plant will not again grow.
It stop.
After reaching to a certain height, it will get stopped. ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಏನು ಬೆಳೀತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತಾನೆ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಒಂದು ಹೈಟ್ ಬಂದ ಮೇಲೆ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಹೈಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ಸ್. So there is a hormone that prevents the growth of the, or that inhibits, that stops the growth, that inhibits the growth. So that is called what? Abscisic acid. Abscisic. Abscisic. So inhibits the growth of the plant. Inhibits the growth.
Sir, it is a hormone or acid, sir?
Hormone itself.
Sir.
See, all the hormones are chemicals. ಎಲ್ಲ ಹಾರ್ಮೋನ್ ಕೂಡ ಇದು ಕೆಮಿಕಲ್ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ? So here abscisic acid is one of the chemicals. Okay, these are all not acids, but these are all chemicals. Okay, so these are the four hormones that controls the plant growth. Even though plant do not have nerves or muscles, communication takes place from one cell to
the other.
When one cell gets the information, it releases a compound. That compound can be understood by the neighbor cell. So that picks up the information and it transmits. So ಆ ಸೆಲ್ಗೆ ಕೆಪಾಸಿಟಿ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಸೆಲ್ಗೂ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಮಿಟ್ ಮಾಡೋ ಕೆಪಾಸಿಟಿನೂ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಓಕೆನಾ? Yes. So this is about the movement related to growth and not related to independent of growth. So these are the things. Next in hormones in animals, small topic today. So I will continue in my next class. So thank you.
Thank you.